Hey, I am Latha Christie. Welcome to this amazing series called The Grand Cosmic Story. Join me on this fascinating journey to explore the origin and the destiny of our universe. Get into the time machine, fasten your seatbelt, and let me take you on this exuberant ride. We are going to travel back in time. Our journey may take us to another world, beyond our Milky Way, and maybe even to the point of nothingness from where space, time, and matter began. Experience the thrill of this incredible expeditions in this amazing series.
Are you curious about the world around you? Do you wonder what else is out there beyond our world? Dr. Latha Christie, a scientist and an author, will take you on a journey through the universe. Join her in exploring the universe through her web series, The Grand Cosmic Story. Stay tuned to find out what today's episode is all about.
Hello! Our life has a beginning and an end. How about the universe we live in? Are we living in a static universe with no beginning? Or did it begin somewhere, sometime? Today we are going to explore the answer to this question. People have wrestled with this question for over thousands of years, hunting through mysteries, gathering evidence. During the 4th century, while Augustine contended that the God who exists outside of space and time brought the whole universe into existence, the Greek philosopher Aristotle argued that the world must have existed from eternity. Taking this forward, the 18th century philosopher David Hume said, "How come anything that exists from eternity have a cause? So the universe is just there, that's all." The quest to understand the planets, the stars, and the world around us fuel the research of astronomers. This quest propelled the 17th century physicist Sir Isaac Newton, a Cambridge University student, to discover gravity. Looking at the moon, he wondered why it is not crashing into the earth just as an apple is falling from the tree. This led to his description of gravity as an ever-present force that pulled the apples to the ground but kept the moon in orbit. To this day, we use Newton's equation to predict the trajectory of the toss of a table tennis ball or a rocket. But how does gravity work? Newton did not know. For more than 250 years, nobody could find the agent. In 1915, when Einstein was working on Newton's mysterious gravity, he dreamt up an agent that could have caused it and published his famous theory of relativity. For him, gravity was a natural result of the influence of mass on space. Mass can warp space, bend it, push or pull it. This is the reason that the planets are kept in orbit. Let me illustrate how. When you jump on a trampoline, your mass will cause a depression in the stretched fabric of the trampoline. The heavier you are, the more you bend the fabric. Now roll a ball past the warp at your feet and it will curve towards your feet. Assume now the trampoline is space and the closest planet, Mercury, is the ball. As the heavy mass of the sun is stretching the space, the Mercury moves along the curves on the spatial fabric caused by the sun's presence, just as the ball is moving along the curve caused by your body stretching the trampoline. So we can observe a weird kink in that Mercury's orbit because Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. This effect is not much noticed on the other planets because they are little far away from the sun, and so the space gets less warped. In the same way, gravity also bends light. Light follows a curved path through space because of gravity. To find out this, Sir Arthur Eddington, a British astronomer, went to an African island and watched the famous 1919 solar eclipse. To his surprise, the light rays from distant stars were bent. They had been wrenched off their paths by the gravitational field of the sun. This confirmation of Einstein's theory brought mind-boggling implications. When Einstein applied his general relativity to our universe, he found that our universe was expanding. Einstein brushed it aside, as for him, the heavens were unchanging. In the meantime, Alexander Friedmann, a Russian mathematician, and Father Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian physicist, who were also working on Einstein's equation, were also surprised because they too found that the universe was expanding. In 1927, Father Lemaitre met Einstein at a conference and told him his findings. However, Einstein could not accept it. He remarked, "Your calculations are correct, but your physics is atrocious." But just 2 years later, an American astronomer, Edwin Hubble, looked through his powerful 100-inch Hooker telescope and could literally see that the universe was expanding. Hubble found that there were many other galaxies apart from our Milky Way and that all of them were racing away from our galaxy. He could prove this because the color or wavelength of the light from the distant galaxies and early stars was shifted towards the red end of the spectrum when it reached his telescope after traveling a long distance through space and time. This is on the same lines that the pitch of the siren of an ambulance increases when it's coming towards you and decreases when it moves far away from you. Hubble's experiment clearly proved that we are not living in a static universe but an expanding one. So Einstein went to Pasadena, California and looked through the Hooker telescope and exclaimed, "The red shift of distant galaxies has smashed my old construction like a hammer blow." The famous American physicist John Wheeler exclaimed, "Of all the great predictions that science has ever made over the centuries, was there ever one greater than this? To predict and predict correctly and predict against all expectation, a phenomenon as fantastic as the expansion of the universe." However, this finding marked a veritable turning point in the history of science as it gave birth to a basic question. If the universe is expanding, what happens if you reverse the expansion and go backward in time? Does that mean that universe was smaller yesterday compared to today? Does that mean that the whole universe originated from a specific point in time and space? In 1931, Lemaitre's legendary paper confirmed that the universe originated from a specific point in space and time. Today, this idea is known as the Big Bang. Evidence in favor of a one-time beginning slowly gathered momentum, climaxing in 1964 when scientists at Bell Telephone Laboratories discovered that the cosmos is immersed in a sea of microwave radiation, the leftover glow of the thunderous launch of our universe at the Big Bang. Further discoveries estimated that our universe began around 13.7 billion years ago at a single point called singularity, at which all laws of physics breaks down. This one-time beginning was troubling because if Big Bang is an effect, there needs to be a cause behind the effect. Sir Fred Hoyle wrote, "The universe is supposed to have begun at this time, but from where? The usual answer, from nothing. That is unsatisfactory." The British astrophysicist Arthur Eddington said, "The notion of a beginning of the universe is repugnant to me." But later he exclaimed, "The beginning seems to present insuperable difficulties unless we agree to look on it as frankly supernatural." Why is it supernatural? because as something outside the physical universe needed to be introduced at t is equal to 0. Therefore, whatever that something that caused the Big Bang must be outside of nature, and it has to be supernatural. This is profoundly disturbing because it raises the question, what or who started the universe? Now we can no longer dismiss this profound question with the slogan, the universe is just there and that's all. For the universe is not just there, but it came into being. It began to exist. We are living in a finite universe that had a one-time beginning at some time in the distant past. The universe is not eternal. But why did it come into being? Why does it exist at all? The reason for the existence of the universe cannot be part of the universe. It must be transcendent, outside of the universe. Who is the agent behind the creation of the universe, or who caused the Big Bang? Is there a creator? You know, on Christmas Eve 1968, the astronauts on Apollo 8, Frank Borman, James Lowell, and William Anders, who became the first human beings to see the far side of the moon, were returning back. As they emerged from the moon's far side, they were suddenly taken aback by the awe-inspiring Earthrise image. They saw the majesty of a grand design in the delicate gleaming swirl of blue and white that was contrasting with the dark lunar horizon. At that great moment, they did not know what to do except to open their Bible and read the opening words of the book.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth,
which was telecasted all over the earth. The awe-inspiring beauty of the universe makes one wonder about the wisdom behind this beauty. It's rather strange that those who believe in an eternal universe are uncomfortable with the idea of an eternal God. If you ask me, based on science, I would say that I prefer to believe in an eternal God than an eternal universe.